Egyptian, sun god, R-A-Y, Ray, sun ray. But the ancient Egyptians called their god Ra. In our Christian church, both Catholic and Protestant, when you pray to God, you end up by saying amen, because you're sending your prayer through God's son, Amun Re. It was perceived to represent the spiritual qualities of God, in that it brought life to the earth, it brought warmth to the earth, it brought energy for us to live. So all of the good things about God and his creation was best represented by the symbol of the sun. The ancient Nordic peoples that were preparing for what we would call today the Easter sunrise service. Here the ancient peoples in Europe realized that the sun was coming back to the northern hemisphere, and it would bring with it the warmth, the food, and life. And so they all gathered with their sun symbol to welcome back the sun that had died in winter and was coming back to the northern hemisphere. It became known as what we call today Easter. The idea that the sun dies on a cross goes back to the old petroglyph cross, and so that's where we see it now all over the world, all Christianity. You'll see the sun is always dying on the cross, because in the southern constellation, when you go down south, when the sun reaches the lowest part in the sky in southern hemisphere, there is a constellation of stars that look just exactly like a cross. And so we say the sun, when it dies in December, it goes down and dies on the cross. The cross is called the Southern Cross. When he was dead, but now he's coming back to the northern hemisphere because he promised he would return. And he is returning again in the spring. Solar symbolism of the sun going southward each day until it finally reaches December 22nd, when it's its lowest point in the southern sky. It's down south now. It's gone south. But on December 22nd, the sun goes as far in the south as it's going to go, and it stops going southward on December 22nd. It doesn't go any further southward. Then on the 23rd and 24th, it rises on the same degree. And therefore, for 3 days, it doesn't move at all, stays in that same degree. So we say, and the ancient people said, that Jesus, or God's Son, died for 3 days. Why? Because it was moving every day, and now it's not moving for 3 days. So for 3 days, the sun was dead, and on December 25th, the sun moves 1 degree northward, which indicates, even the United States Navy will show you on their instruments, that it indicates the sun is now alive again. He's born again. Now he's going to work his way back to the northern hemisphere, because he said, God's Son said, I will return. Well, he does. He returns every year, bringing back the sun to us in the northern hemisphere. Because for us in the northern hemisphere, the sun was dead to us because it was in the southern hemisphere. But now it's being born again and coming back to the northern hemisphere. That's the whole story in itself, is the vision of the sun going southward and dying on the cross, and then being reborn on December 25th when it moves 1 degree northward, and now is coming back and sort of springing back to life.
How important it is for you to expose your skin to this sunlight during this ascension period, and for you to also breathe in the sunlight, because you can also breathe in the sun rays to help increase your frequency and your DNA. The sun is the central component in helping you to upgrade your DNA. Your DNA is currently being upgraded from being a 2-strand DNA to becoming a 12-strand crystalline DNA. You're also being upgraded right now from being a carbon-based body, which is a very heavy, lower frequency body that is resonant to the 3rd and 4th dimension. But as the planet is ascending to become a 5D galactic being, your body is also going through a major change right now. Going through a lot of DNA upgrade and completely changing the structure and the internal, the cells, from going carbon-based to crystalline base, the sun is blasting gamma rays onto the earth, and gamma rays has been shown in scientific studies to turn simplistic life form into more complex life form, and this is what's happening to us right now during this ascension period. So it's imperative for you to get as much sun as possible, so that way you're going through the DNA upgrade, and for your body to also be going through these changes.
The sun is continuously emitting streams of charged particles. Back in 1859, dark spots were observed on the surface of the sun, and we now know these to be called sunspots. What followed was an ejection, coronal mass ejection, in which billions of tons of particles were directed. Only 18 hours later, they reached the Earth. And this coronal mass ejection caused our magnetic field to be temporarily compromised. The end result was that telegraph systems across the whole of Northern Europe and America were disrupted. Back in 2012, we had a near miss. The sun ejected a coronal mass ejection which missed us by 9 days. We know that these coronal mass ejections are linked to sunspots. We know that sunspots contain molecules, diatomic molecules. These are molecules with 2 atoms within them. And we know that sunspots, the magnetic field is enhanced within them. The surface of the sun is about 98% hydrogen and helium. But what's really fascinating about these molecules that have been found in sunspots is that they contain elements that come from all across the periodic table. So let me tell you about some of these molecules that have been found in sunspots. For example, there is chromium hydride. It contains the transition metal chromium and hydrogen joined together to make a diatomic molecule. There's around about 80 of these diatomic molecules that have been observed. So as well as chromium hydride, there's other types of hydrides. There's also carbides, chlorides, fluorides, oxides, nitrides, sulfides, and many more. Diatomic molecules containing elements that span the whole of the periodic table. So how can we use these molecules? Every molecule emits a collection of wavelengths. You can think of these like barcodes. Different species emit different barcodes.
So what we know about what used to be called string theory, used to be called the theory, they call it the God particle. Oh, we're all connected through this invisible strings of energy, vibrational wavelength patterns and frequencies and systems of waves and that all connect us that we can't see. And we're all connected through these waves of energy. And that's string theory. But now they know it's real. And they call it the God particle. We're all one. What science has known up until 2012 was that we had 2 active strands of DNA. And how many strands of dormant DNA? 10. That's what science validated up until 2012. But so now what science is saying, as of 2012, that actually the 10 strands of dormant DNA could be awakened. They could be activated, right? How do they get activated? Energy. That's right, energy. Ultimately, what activates them is a vibration of energy, a certain vibration of energy.
Now, in terms of planets, however,
Yes.
and especially suns, you're going to find that what you call the core of the planet or the sun is an entry point, exit and entry point dimensionally. So this is why celestial bodies have consciousness, because the consciousness, literally the consciousness of creation, breathes itself in and out through those portals in the center of the core of whether it's a sun or a planet.
Negative filter on, and I'm just using my flash, so nothing fancy. But as you can see, these geometric fractals Look at these, all different colors. I have this on a 4 magnification, and they're working as this biokinetic computer. This is what you see when I'm in the sunlight. Those flashes of color, these independent geometric fractals.
Is actually our body going crystalline. Isn't that beautiful? How sparkly my skin is. It's like I literally have glitter all over me. My skin is turning very luminous.